Okay, I'm just going to start it now. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to invite everyone to come in. Oh, we lost one. We had 10 and now we have 9.
Well, maybe they'll rejoin
Here
later.
we go. They came back. Admit all. Here we go. Good morning, teachers. So happy to see everyone, see and hear everyone this morning. Welcome, welcome. We have just a couple more minutes before we begin, and I'm glad you're all here. Good morning, teachers, and welcome. We'll be starting in just a couple minutes. Good morning, teachers, and welcome to our webinar this morning, Building Multiplication Fluency. I just wanted to let you know that we will be recording this webinar on our end, and we'd be happy to provide that to you when the webinar is done. I'm also more than happy to answer any questions you have, either in the chat or I'll be sending you my email at the end of our presentation, and I'm happy to for ongoing questions to answer on the email. So, first of all, I want to congratulate all you teachers for taking the time out of your well-deserved summer to learn about how to improve your students' experience, particularly in this very important topic. So I'm thrilled to see you, and let's get started.
Oh, Ruha made it.
So why is this so important for us? And we know that it is. First reason, multiplication fact fluency is a critical skill for success in the coming grades. The students, we pretty much start in third grade to learn the full table. We do some skip counting and some repeated addition for the basic tables, the 10s, the 5s, the 2s in second grade. And we take on the task with full enthusiasm in third grade. And that's when students learn the full table, and as we see in the standards, they're expected to know from memory all of the one-digit multiplication facts. Once this happens, the curriculum pretty much takes off, and almost everything students will be doing from then on through elementary school and even into algebra will depend upon their ability to be fluent with the multiplication facts. We'd like to talk a little bit about how we can help students catch up for the students who have struggled or had some learning loss. Let's let someone in. Something we know unequivocally is that simply providing flashcards is not going to work. If this were the case, then students would not be having problems with their facts. So we need something more than that. And what we need is not for students to have memorized the facts, but for students to have understood the facts. And that's the cornerstone of Singapore math. So let's look and talk about how we can do this using Singapore math strategies. Cornerstone of Singapore math is what is known as the Concrete-Pictorial-Abstract approach, also referred to by us Singapore teachers as CPA. CPA involves starting out by working with concrete objects for the purpose of establishing a foundation of understanding. We give students plenty of time to work with these manipulatives. Some common manipulatives that we see in kindergarten and first grade, it could be any toys in the classroom. Counting bears are seen a lot. Any of the toys that you commonly find in a young children's classroom will be used as concrete tools to manipulate with. And as we move up, we start to see that ever-present, critically important snap cubes. We also see counting discs. The use for these concrete tools in multiplication is that what we're starting with is multiplication means equal groups. So we can use these concrete tools to help the children visualize and also manually manipulate this concept of adding equal groups. And next we move on to the pictorial. Pictorial is exactly that. It's a picture of the tools that they've just worked with. So the children have established an understanding of the concept with the concrete tools, and now we're going to look at a picture of those tools so that we're moving up towards the abstract. Note that we start off with the concrete, and the abstract is our goal. I'm going to show you right now a clip from our program, Singapore Math. This is an example of using, I will let someone else in. We're so glad to see everyone. We're using dot paper, which is an somewhat abstract representation of the concrete tools. Dot paper is very useful in teaching multiplication. So here is just a clip of a lesson using multiplication by 3.
There are 4 hula hoops on the floor. There are 3 basketballs in each hula hoop. How many basketballs are there altogether? We can use dot paper to find the answer.
So what you can see is we have the, here comes the dot paper. There we go.
There are 4 groups of 3 basketballs. Let's use the dot paper to show 4 rows of 3. There are 12 dots. 4 times 3 is 12. We can also use repeated addition to find the answer. There are 12 basketballs altogether.
The advantage to this is an example of one of the many lessons that we have in Singapore Math. Most likely before we had this lesson, we would play with some kind of an object, maybe toy balls, and we would explore the 4 times 3 is 12 with the balls. Now, as you can see on the page, we have the picture of the balls. So we've moved up to the pictorial. And then we also have the dot paper, which still has the idea of each one of the objects. However, they're now represented by a dot. So the CPA goes through over and over again, using what we already know to learn something that's more abstract.
There are 4 hula hoops on the floor.
Whoops. So then that's the next piece is, of course, the abstract. In this situation, everything's there, but we're working towards doing the number sentence. As you can see, we want the students to create the number sentence, but we're giving them support because we have the picture of the 9 tables with 3 napkins on each table. And we also have the dot paper. So students can use the pictures to skip count, or even if they need to, they can count one by one. Hopefully by the time they get to that, they're more fluent. But this is moving from the concrete through the pictorial, and now we've introduced the abstract. So I'd like to talk about some strategies that we can use to build the fluency that we're looking for, and also to help students that are that need some support. The first strategy that works tremendously well is skip counting, and this is used over and over again in the program. We look on the left, we see these beach balls. We can clearly see the 3 groups of 4 basketballs, and we're going to encourage the students to see that this is 4 plus 4 plus 4, and we perhaps could count looking over at the leaflets. These are 4 clover leaves and 3 leaflets each one. So we want to count by 3s. Students get very good at counting by 3s, and this gives a lot of support to the understanding of the math facts, the multiplication facts, and how they work. These are both practice problems from Singapore Math. This is from 3rd grade. Another very powerful strategy is using the property of multiplication. And we call this using a fact you know. When you get up into middle school, we would most likely refer to this as the distributive property. But this is an important understanding about the multiplication facts. And when the facts are learned and drilled in isolation, this critically important property is not emphasized with the importance that it should be. The example here shows 7 times 6. 7 times 6 is commonly a difficult fact. It's one of the last to be learned, and students are often not sure of exactly what is 7 times 6. But most students very likely are going to be really good at 5 times 6. And you've probably all found this after learning the 10 facts. Students are extremely adept at learning the fives. They started to learn to count by fives back in kindergarten, and also 5 being an important connection to 10. They seem to pick up on the 5 table very easily. So we use that as an anchor. In this situation, we want the students to see that 7 times 6 can also be thought of as 5 times 6 plus 2 times 6. 5 times 6 being 30. The students are very good at adding one number to a multiple of 10. And by 3rd grade, they should be very fluent at adding 30 plus 12. So they can see that 7 times 6 is 42. It's 30 plus 12. And they even get to a point where they don't have to think through the whole thing. They know that there's a 30, and then of course the 2 times 6 has a 2 in the ones place, so they can quickly put those two numbers together. Here's another example, 7 times 3. Another one is difficult. The 7 table seems to be universally challenging to most students. So how can we find 7 times 3? Well, again, we easily know 5 times 3. So we can add easily 15 plus 6, and that's really a matter of thinking 5 plus 6, and we come up with the product of 21. Using a fact you know is an extremely powerful strategy. Another pattern that I have personally found not only helpful in my instructional practice, but found it also to be extremely enjoyable and entertaining. Children love to find patterns in numbers. They love to find patterns in all of the world around them, but in particular, patterns are everywhere, and children love to search for patterns and explore patterns and find reasons for patterns. And once you start going into the table and looking for these patterns, you see them everywhere, and they're just wonderful and extremely powerful. I'm looking at the 6 table and noticing oftentimes students will notice that repeated pattern in the ones place, 62840, 62840. This can help reinforce the facts. It can also be a chance for students to look at properties of numbers. Why are there 2 numbers in the teens, but only 1 number in the 20 decade? And then we have 2 numbers in the 30s. So all of these patterns, besides being fun and interesting for children, will help them, first of all, just to be turning over the facts and looking at them and playing with them, but also getting to be more familiar all the time. So then, of course, we don't eschew practice in Singapore math. We just make sure that we have understanding before we get started with practice. And this is another one of the advantages to Singapore math. We have, I'm having, someone's asking me something and I'm going to try to, friends, if you are not muted, would you take care of that? I'm happy that you're chatting and talking about what we're, and interested in what we're doing. If you could just make sure that you're muted, I would appreciate it. Someone has asked me, I hear a little bit in the background. So here's an example of what we call meaningful practice. This is a fun activity that shows the value using our famous Singapore math bar model. What I love about this example is the fact that the little robot has a scale and it balances back and forth. Right now, we don't have the answer there, so those groups of 5 are weighted down more, and then the student balances out the scale. The other part that's particularly effective about this practice exercise is that it emphasizes again the equal groups, and that's such an important concept for students to internalize when they're working on the multiplication facts. In this one, we've stepped it up just a bit in abstraction by not placing the 5 label on each of the groups, so the student needs to extrapolate that each of the groups is 5, and that the what are there 5 groups there are all equal. And that's just one example of the many opportunities for meaningful practice in the program. Not only are the practice exercises well designed, but they are exactly connected to the lesson. So it's not just random practice, it's reinforcement of precisely what we have just learned about. Oops. I'm doing this. Another advantage to the East Singapore program is that it involves adaptive learning. So the program gets individualized based on the students' responses and how they show what they're doing. If they need reinforcement, that they get taken in that direction. If they're ready to move on, the program can do that. There's the diagnostics for each student has their ability assessed, and they each one have a unique learning path is created for each student, and all the exercises come from a rich variety of instructional resources, and those include, we have video tutorials on every concept in all the grades. There are step-by-step, very clear explanations, and then once those lessons are given, we have both assisted practice, so there's a little support underneath it, and then we have benchmark practice where we find out if the students can complete the problems independently. We then have gamified practice, lots of games, which I'm excited to show you a few more of. And then if you look here, the students have goal-driven learning. They can earn icons and trophies, and they can also see mathematically how they're doing through a percentage, a bar graph percentage. And we all know how much children love to play games. So here's another example of gamified practice. This one's called Build a Robot. And as you can see, the thing that I really appreciate about this is that it's a reiteration of the arrays that students were introduced to and manipulated with earlier with the dot paper. So we're reinforcing that, that concept. Here's another part of this game. Oh, that's not it yet. So this is a soccer game. This could come in at the end of third grade or a little bit into fourth grade. As you can see, it's double-digit multiplication, and I think it's lots of fun. The students get a affirmation from the crowd when they get it correct, and encouragement to try again when they don't. But as you can see, this game is more of a abstract number fact-based game, but it's got the fun twist of the soccer. And let's see if I can make this. This is Scale It. This is another version. Now we're moving up into later third grade, fourth grade. So with a game like this, we have taken the concept that we've now come pretty familiar with, which is the equal groups, but we've done that previously with only one digit. Now we're moving it up to 2-digit numbers and still exploiting that idea of equal groups. So that's our next level of complication with multiplication. And here's another fun game. Again, we've taken, and here we clearly say break the number to make 10. So we're breaking up the first product, the 2-digit product, and then looking at adding those two partial products together. There you go. This is just marvelous as a mental math exercise. And what we're doing, first of all, is using base 10 concepts, breaking the number up into place values and multiplying each of those numbers. And again, we're using the distributive properties. So in addition to reinforcing just the facts themselves, where the activity in the game goes a lot deeper. Now we have, here's one more. I couldn't resist.
My friend, I need your help.
We're going to build a house.
Let's solve the problems and build the house. There are 3 erasers in each group. How many groups are there? How many erasers are there in all? How many?
Oops.
How many pencils are in each group?
The house is getting taller and taller, and the problem.
How many groups are there?
More complicated. Again, this one takes us back to third grade. They're single digits, but I really appreciate how this game reinforces the idea of the equal groups. It also shows each of the, the pencils were being multiplied. It shows each pencil. So wrapping up here, we're so proud of our program because eSingapore provides what's so important. We know that the CPA approach works. It's what is used in over 25 countries all over the world, and many of them are in the top performing countries around the world. Also, the adaptive learning, it personalizes each student's program. It's also mastery based. In Singapore Math, we learn it all the way to mastery. And then the targeted practice is so important. A lot of the practice programs, if you will, that are available out there are random and don't always use the same approach, and they don't always reinforce exactly what was just learned. The practice in eSingapore Math is targeted to what's going on right now so that we can work towards that mastery. The program is aligned with Math in Focus, Engage Eureka, Primary Math, and of course the Common Core standards. We invite you to learn more and to get a free trial so that you can see all the aspects of this wonderful program for yourselves. There's the website, and if you go there, you can learn about getting a free trial. And I'm just going to, oh dear. Lastly, there is my email. Please take that down, and happy to answer any of your questions. So I'm also happy to, if you want to unmute now and we can talk, but I see the I got everyone muted. There is not a paper version. Someone asked, is there a paper version? This is a completely web-based platform. As far as Title IX, I have to speak with my general manager, Greg Solodenko, so we can get back to you on that. Sue, Sue, if you would kindly send me an email with that question, I'd be happy to get back to you on that. And I'm more than happy right now to answer any other questions. This is, we are separate. I have not worked with Think Math recently. Can I get back to you on that, Lisa? And if anyone else has a question, I'll be happy to stay for a few minutes. As I told you earlier, we're recording. So if you wanted to find out more about that, we recorded the webinar today. Please send either me or Greg at the website an email about that. Well, I want to thank everyone again for taking time out of your summers to spend time with us today and learn about our platform. My guess is that school is starting very soon and you're getting ready to go. So I wish you all the best in your upcoming school year. And I'm going to stay on here for a few minutes if any of you have find you have some questions. But again, I just received some nice thank yous and some compliments, and I really appreciate that. This topic is extremely important to me. I want all of our students to succeed in mathematics, and I know that fluency in the multiplication facts is a piece of this. So I'm very excited about it, and I appreciate your kind words. And someone told me they learned some new things. That makes me very happy. And hopefully they will come in handy in your classroom pretty soon. It's my pleasure, Allison. Thank you for joining us today. And Sue, I hope you have a wonderful day as well. It's my pleasure, Ruha. Thank you for joining us today.